Good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Levi Slava Show. We're just waiting for Dr. Ashley Mawere to log in. So while we're waiting for him, he's in Ireland, and let's see here, Ashley Mawere. There we go. Aiden, how are you? Thanks for logging in. So guys, this is where we have conversations with entrepreneurs that inspire and experts to admire. So we are waiting for Dr. Ashley Mawere to log in. He's in Ireland. And so I'm excited about this. He's having a bit of challenges with his computer. So I thought, let me start and then he'll jump on when he's ready. I know, and so a few weeks ago, a month ago, I told you about the investments that we're doing this side. So yeah, so the one deal is basically almost closed and fully financed. We're working on two more deals in Boksburg, Gauteng. So let me just see here. Aiden says, all good, my friend. I love the last show with Lester. Looking forward to today's show. Shot, man. Thanks for logging in, eh? Remember to like, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Okay. So if you are looking to invest with us, my contact details are here on the screen, phone number, email, if you are looking to invest in property. So we're working on about 3 deals. One is basically fully financed. And then there's another project, 2 projects that I'm working on now. So if you are interested, give me a shout, send me an inbox, contact me on my number here on the screen. You can see it, cell phone number and email address. And yeah, then we can start doing things, guys. Okay? Start working on a couple of deals. And there's 2 ways you can invest with us. One, you become a partner, right? Ownership, share the property, 50-50, whatever it is. 20-80, depending on how much you invest, right? The second way you can invest, you become an angel investor. So that's where you invest your money. Let's say you get 4 to 6% return in your bank. You're saying, listen, Levi, I want to invest 100, 200, 500, a million, 2 million, 10 million to this deal. And I just want to return on my money each month for a year, for 2 years. And so each deal is different. Some investors want to be in it for the long term. They want ownership and they want to invest for the long term. Other investors want to be angel investors where they'll invest with you and they'll say, listen, I just want a better return than what I'm getting in the bank. So there's 2 ways to invest. So as we're waiting for Ashley to log in, I just thought I'd cover that quickly. There we go.
How are you doing?
Dr. Ashley Mawere, how are you, doctor?
Yep, all is well. How's things going on your side?
No, it's going well, healthy and well.
This day of COVID, that's what we want to hear.
Yeah, your side, how's Ireland?
It's interesting.
But you're out of isolation. Are you out of
it's
isolation?
Different. No, finally out of isolation.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Dr. Ashley, we live, eh? We've got a couple of people on here. They're saying they're excited to hear from you about your journey. So guys, we've got Dr. Ashley Mawere here. He's a medical doctor. He's currently in Ireland. He travels the world. He's been all over the place. He's climbed Kilimanjaro, right? I know none of you have climbed Kilimanjaro who's on here, so he's the only one. He's climbed Kilimanjaro, and he's a property investor. So he's investing in South Africa from Ireland. So welcome. Can you hear me?
Thank you so much, and good morning to everyone. I hope that side it's still morning. Can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah. What's the time? It's 10 o'clock. What's the time on that side?
All right, so we're still sitting at about 9 o'clock this side. So just an hour's difference.
Okay, so it's about an hour difference. Not bad, eh? Dr. Ashley.
Yep,
Your line is bad. The internet is terrible in Ireland.
I thought the first thought I was going to be having quicker internet than South Africa, but I think I missed my house already.
We thought we third world. You guys are first world, but it doesn't seem like it, eh?
Hey, still clear and audible. So I don't know. Can we proceed?
No, we can't hear you, guys. Let me know if you can hear me. It's stuck. It's freezing on my side.
Okay.
Let me see. But let's see. Let's go ahead. If it's a problem, then maybe we'll just log back out and back in again.
Sure.
So yeah, man. So I think before we get into the serious stuff, Doctor, tell us about Kilimanjaro, man. You're the first person that I've met that's climbed Kilimanjaro, and apparently it's quite dangerous. Before we get into the serious doctor
No,
stuff.
guys, everything in my... All right. Aiden Reneke says it's delayed, but we can hear the doctor. Okay, cool. If you can hear me, I'm happy. So with Kilimanjaro, a fundraiser by climbing Kilimanjaro, I wanted to do it, but you're a student, you don't have the funds, and you're thinking, okay, one day I'm going to get the opportunity.
Yeah, no, I think it's.
Then
I think actually,
started working. It was the one thing that I told myself: we've been wanting to do Kilimanjaro. It's been on the bucket list. So why? Then you're back and you're gone, and now you're back. Okay, I don't know. Do you want to log out, then log
Doctor,
back?
I think log back out because I think it's gonna be a bit frustrating because it's a bit of stop-start. You're freezing, then yeah. Maybe log back out and log back in. If it doesn't work, then we might have to postpone it. Let me kick you out and then come back in. Yeah, guys, and he's in Ireland. As I said, he's a doctor. He climbed Kilimanjaro. He's a property investor. A young guy came from Zimbabwe, moved to South Africa, and he's traveling the world. Every couple of months he moves. So that's interesting. But let's see. His internet is bad in Ireland. If it does not improve, then we're gonna have to do this another day. But anyway, any questions? Gaino, Brennan's watching, looking forward to it. Aiden, we got a couple of people on here. Any questions, guys? Let me know if you guys are enjoying this show. Let me know if there's a guest perhaps that you'd like on here. Gaino, just send me a WhatsApp. Okay, here's the doctor's back. Let me know in the comment section if they are. That looks better. We can see you now.
Oh, okay.
What did you say YouTube? What are you on now?
This is the phone. This is the phone. I thought the laptop was going to have better connection, but it seems like the phone is the way to go.
Yes. Yeah, the phone is much better. Welcome. Yes, so you're actually a handsome man, eh?
Oh, thank you. I take the compliments.
So, Dr. Ashley, what were we saying? So basically, so this we have conversations with entrepreneurs that inspire and experts to admire. So we're excited to have you with. You're telling us about Kilimanjaro, why you climbed Kilimanjaro, and how was the experience?
No, it was an interesting experience. For me, it's about discovering the world. There's so much in our own backyards that we don't really know about. If you think about it, for most South Africans going around Africa, you might not even need a visa. Going to some places, like even coming here to Ireland, you don't need to apply for a visa. So you're always stuck in your own backyard thinking, okay, this is South Africa, this is South Africa. But there's so much to see. For me, Kilimanjaro had been a dream since I was a student when I couldn't afford it. So when I got the opportunity and I could afford it, then I was just like, why not? So yeah, that was it.
And what age were you?
This was about 2 to 3 years ago.
So you're 29 now, so you're about 27.
Yeah, somewhere there.
Okay, and tell me, because who was it that Kilimanjaro's it's actually quite it's dangerous, right? It's not like it's a simple thing. You wake up and say, listen, guys, let's go to Kilimanjaro tomorrow and then climb it.
The thing is that yes, it's quite dangerous, and I'm not condoning. I don't know how to answer that question and be politically correct. The thing is that you find that there was the I'm forgetting his name. There's that guy who used to do things for charity who summited.
The guy that passed away.
Sorry?
Wasn't it a famous guy that passed away a couple of months ago?
Yes, it was. But when I look at things, the way I look at life, because when I wake up in the morning, okay, now it's a bit different now that I'm here. But when I was still back in South Africa with COVID, the mornings when I used to wake up and go to work, and you're walking right into COVID. It's not maybe I'll bump into someone's COVID, maybe I might not. So you find that with our daily lives, there's so much risk, be it driving, be it COVID, be it whatever. So you'll find that yes, Kilimanjaro is a risk. Mount Everest is a risk. All these things are risks, but it's always a thing of how much are you going to hold yourself back because of fear of the unknown and fear of all the risks that are in the world. Because if that was the case, we wouldn't even be driving because there's always an accident on the road.
Yeah, that's true. Eh? So you're looking at it as, listen, go for it. Eh? Take the risks.
Yeah.
So, doctor, you a medical doctor. What type of doctor are you?
No, I'm a medical doctor. Right now, I'm currently working in the emergency unit. I haven't started specializing. I haven't decided when and whether I want to specialize. But that's a story for another day.
Where is it?
Because right now,
no, go for it. Sorry.
Because right now, what I'm looking at, I wanted to try and establish my property portfolio while I'm still younger. Because the idea was always, when I look at other doctors, I've worked with people in their 60s, people with gray hairs, and everyone always says, I wish I had done it differently. Because for us, the drive is to always say, specialize, specialize, specialize. That's what you're taught. Come out of university, you do your internship, you do your community service. Everyone's telling you, oh, no, get into the department you like. Start trying to get into the specialization program. By the time you finish, you're getting into your maybe 35 to 40. Maybe if you started late, you're only going to finish when you're 40, but then you're trying to set up your own practice. By the time you're fully established, probably you're not getting into your 50s. So by then you've been working your entire life. So I don't know. For me, it was just a thing of, let's set up our property portfolio while I'm younger. If that one booms up and goes well, then I know I can actually cut down the number of hours I need to work and not have to be that dad who's always saying, kids, I need to go to work. Kids, I need to go to work. I want to be able to be picking up my kids after school, dropping them off in the morning. So yeah, that's me and property and being a doctor.
So I think we're gonna jump to the property now in a few minutes. So you're saying there are doctors that get to 60, whatever, and they regret, because we look at doctors like that's one of the ultimate professions, right? You study for, what do you study for, 7 years? How long is it to study for a doctor?
So it all depends with the country that you're in, but with most countries we're looking at about 6 years. Right. After you do your 6 years, you do your 2-year internship. After that, there's a 1-year community service. So once you complete your community service, you can go ahead and be an independent practitioner. But at that point in time, most people will say, rather get into that department that you want to specialize in. By that time, you're just a medical officer in that department. So some departments might take you a while to get into the training program. Once you're in the training program, you might be looking at 4 to 5 years, depending on what it is. Then you finish your specialization. Some people decide to stay in the government sector. Some people want to go into the private sector. So with the private sector, it's more you trying to build your client base. So maybe unless you're getting a practice from someone else or joining an established group, for some people, you start getting your patients, but for some people, it takes a bit of time for you to have that good client base where people know you and they say, this is my doctor. So because of that, it's always a question of how do you choose to look at it. Come on, you guys have heard that whole thing of whenever you go to your doctor, you want that older guy. Because you look at the younger guy, you're like, this one doesn't have experience.
Doesn't know everything, eh? So, no, that's true, eh? That's true. I also think like that. You feel more comfortable with an older doctor.
You see. So you find.
But so you said it's basically 8 years for 6 years to study, 2 years to internship, and then 1 year you have to do your community work where they send you to wherever they send you, right? From a government. So that's 8 years, and then to specialize, that would take on average how many years?
We're looking at about you're gonna need to get into the specialty program, but once you're in, probably 4 to 5 years, depending on what it is.
Sure,
Then, if
that's a
you
whole.
decide to super specialize, there's more years to come.
Oh wow, that's why there's not so many doctors. I can get it. Wow. And so what you are saying is that now tell me, do you make more money privately or for the government as a doctor? Let's talk about South Africa now, because obviously most people before we jump to why you went to Ireland, is it for the money or what is it?
Okay, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. So for me, what I saw is that
for a doctor, let's say someone on here wants to be a doctor. Let's say Brandon or Gaino decides they want to study for a doctor now. Would it be better to go private financially, or would it be better to work for the government?
If you're talking financially, I'd say go private. Private, I think that's where everyone says the money is. But also at the same time, you're looking at in terms of if you want to be employed. Like people talk about being an entrepreneur versus being full-time employed. Government, full-time employed, your leave days, you've got paid leave days, your salary, someone is paying your salary and all that. When you're going private, for some people, it means that you need to see the patients. You need to be at work for you to cash in. Unless you are maybe under a company, a private company, take, for example, the one that I was with when I was in South Africa. If you are working privately by yourself, if you're doing locums, as we like to call them, or if you've got your own independent practice, you need to be there. You put in the hours for you to get in the work. Unless you've got someone else covering your practice, you're not making the money. So when you go on leave and there's no one covering your practice, there's no money. So when you're in government, you get your annual leave. You go on your annual leave, you travel the world, live your best life, and come back. So it just matter of there's a lot to it. What tickles your fancy? Government, stability, private, freedom, money, but not so much the stability. And people are going to come for your money. They're going to sue you.
So your insurance is high.
So when you're in private, you're paying your own insurance. So I think to keep it simple, let me keep it at that. It goes deeper, the whole insurance thing, but
you sound you're making it sound like this doctor thing is a bit is not funny.
No, guys, it's fun. Look at me. It's fun.
Because and is it so? What I'm taking from it is that you get paid a lot, right? But it comes with a lot of work because you're exchanging your time for money, right? It's an hour, and you've only got so much hours in a day, or so much hours in a week, so much hours in a month, depending on if you're doing surgeries or doing whatever it is you're specializing in. So it's quite hard work. I always look at doctors that are there at 3 a.m. and leave at like 11 or 12 at night.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Last night, I think when I was walking back, I think I was walking back home at about midnight. Yes, the joys of Ireland. You can walk around at night.
Yeah. Oh, lovely. So now tell us, why Ireland? Are you there for the? Why are you in Ireland? Are you there for the euros, or for what's the currency in Ireland? Are you there for the euros? Are you there to travel? Are you looking for a wife?
Can I say all the above? Okay. For real though. For me, moving to the island, I think we need to go back to why I do what I do. Who am I? For me, it's more about the adventure. I want, like I said, with the whole thing about Kilimanjaro, you want to see what's out there. So for me, you always hear people talk about first world, which it's quite an interesting thing. Just go and look up the definitions of first world, second world, and third world. It's a bit different from what we think it means. So with Ireland, I came here because I wanted to see what was out there. I'm Zimbabwean, but studied in South Africa and worked in South Africa. So when you look at the healthcare sector is in South Africa, it's a bit different to what you have elsewhere. So when I came here, it was mainly to say, okay, let's go see what a healthcare is like in another country. But at the same time, I wanted to go hiking. So I went online, I saw some good pictures of Ireland, and I said, you know what? It's a place when we can hike and we can get to discover another side of medicine. So that much. It's that simple.
Okay, okay. So just for the adventure, um, you don't like sitting still, and you said it's beautiful for hiking. Is the money better there than in South Africa or Zimbabwe?
You see, that's an interesting question that I actually want people to understand who are on this thing, on this platform. When people talk about money, I look at it slightly different. It's not so much how much comes into your pocket. It's a question of how much remains in your pocket after all the expenses.
Mm.
Because when you're looking at it here, first thing people are telling me is that don't convert to rand. And
Mm.
because when you're just starting off, you're still working off your money in the SA accounts, you haven't yet established yourself here in Ireland. But one thing I realized that the cost of living is much higher than what it was in South Africa.
Mm.
Where for 800 euros, if we do the conversions, I think we're off the top of my head, I think we're sitting about close to about 14,000 or somewhere there. For that much per month, here I'm going to be in a studio apartment. Whereas in South Africa, that was that's a house for 14,000 that you're renting
Mm.
out. So
Yeah.
when you look at it in that regard, in terms of cost of living, you realize that at the end of the day, you've got less money in your pocket at the
Mm.
end of the day, depending on what you're doing. I think that's just a disclaimer that I would want to put out there,
Yeah.
depending on what you're doing. So in theory, the money is good. That's when we're comparing me working for the government here and me working for the government back home. The money is good, but you're also looking at cost of living is higher.
Mm. It's
So with
higher.
a higher cost of living, what actually remains in your pocket might not be so much. It might be slightly more, but in
Mm.
that regard, I wouldn't say when you look at just as the money, it might not be so significant. Quality
Mm.
of life, however, for when you're speaking to most doctors, they'll tell you with regards to quality of life, whereas the schedule here allows you to have more time to rest compared to the demands back in South Africa. That's where the difference is, not so much the money.
Is it because we have less doctors in South Africa? Is it that the population is less there, or why do you have more time off there than you would here in South Africa?
Looking at the department that I'm currently working in, I think our numbers here are way more than what we had in South Africa. Then you're
Mm.
looking at access to resources. Whereas in South Africa, you think about when you want to book in someone for an MRI scan, it's you're looking at the patient load, especially like with our government facilities. We've got so much of a demand and so few resources. Yeah, whereas here, when you're looking to say you want to get this test done, you want to get this test done, it tends to have more resources
Mm.
available to you. So things tend to get faster. So we've got the numbers are more and so forth. So when you look at it in that regard, it's slightly different. So by virtue, quality of life tends to be better. Your
Mm.
working hours are also better in that regard.
Okay, sounds good, man. You plan on coming back, or what do you plan? Because is Ireland the first country you're working in outside of South Africa, and you plan on coming back, or do you plan on just moving on or staying there?
That's actually a difficult question, eh? Because I think the first day I arrived, I looked outside. I'm like, Ireland, this is Ireland. Then when I started looking for accommodation, I got angry. I'm just like, in South Africa, I used to have a bigger place than this for less. I'm like, I'm going back to South Africa. But when I started looking around, driving around, you see the things that realize about being here in terms of safety wise, if I can put it that way. But I
Mm.
was thinking about it, walking around from the hospital, even if it's at night, I'm much more comfortable here. It's you come out of a shift, you finish late, it's
You
not a
walk
problem.
home.
You walk home two step, nice
Yeah.
and easy. You've got that whole cycling scheme, everyone's cycling about. You see about there, you can actually hire a bicycle just cycle around. So you look at what you have in terms of the resources,
Mm.
and it's much nicer. However, my answer to your question is I might not stay here. I might not come back to South Africa. Like I said, there's still an entire world out there to see.
Yeah.
If I can even go to New Zealand or some island, Malta, I don't know.
Mm.
I'm always willing to take that chance and see what more is out there. So maybe when I'm older, a bit of gray hair and looking to settle down, maybe I might come back to South Africa because I've got a couple of properties there. But if my portfolio grows outside of South Africa and I also make a home somewhere else, then I might not come back.
That doesn't sound like you're gonna come back. You're gonna see. Most people that leave never come back. But so tell me, did you had to get vaccinated? How does it work now in Europe? Do you have to get vaccinated here or vaccinated there before you do you or don't you have to get vaccinated? How does that work?
I'm still trying to figure out how things are working here because I had managed to get vaccinated when I was still in South Africa. It's something that I realized was going to come in handy at a later point in time because for healthcare workers, I'm really grateful that we got a chance to be one of the first batches to be vaccinated. So during that time, I was thinking about it, saying at some point with travel, you might end up getting all these issues because we already have things like a yellow fever certificate when you're traveling. They say you need to produce that. With some jobs, take for example, especially fast in the medical sector, there's certain vaccinations that they already ask you about, things such as hepatitis, they're going to ask you. So I looked at the whole thing with COVID and I said, let's just get vaccinated, add it to the list. Then when I got here, one thing I'm seeing is that in terms of sit downs in restaurants, they say for you to sit down in a restaurant, you need to be vaccinated and you need to actually provide proof that you're vaccinated to sit down. But otherwise, you can just get in, get your meal, and get out. So people are getting vaccinated, but I think it still goes back to that whole thing of it's your choice to get vaccinated.
But it sounds like soon they're forcing you because they're saying you can't sit, you can't do this if you're not vaccinated and you don't have the ID, which I think is becoming a problem. But I take it you for the seeing that you're a doctor, you for the vaccination.
I took it, but that's the thing I was actually going to comment because for me, I say, okay, if you think about it, for most people, depending in childhood, you have the vaccinations in childhood. People take those, and I look at the fact that when you look at it, those ones help you. Then we've got things such as yellow fever vaccine when you're traveling to places like Tanzania. And we've always had this thing of vaccinations. I understand that there's a whole lot of conspiracies around the COVID vaccine, but for me, I'm for the vaccine because when I look at it, if you look at the devastation, we're always looking on the news, seeing the death tolls, seeing this and that. We're locked down there, here, locked down here. So when I look at the vaccine, yes, we always talk about it. It doesn't say you're not going to get it, but at least if you do get COVID, it's not gonna be as bad as some of the cases we've seen. So for me, I'm for the vaccine.
Okay. I haven't taken it. I'm still figuring it out. I doubt I'm gonna take it now because it's spring here, so I've made it through. I'm fine. So yeah, so I'm actually slightly thinking that because people are still getting it with the vaccine. A few of my family members have gotten it, and they still passed away with the vaccine. So this vaccine thing, I'm still gonna watch you guys for a year or so and see how it plays out.
And like I said, it's something, Buzz, with all those things, everyone needs to be informed. Buzz, for everyone who's listening, I'm going to take Leroy for a sit down after this so that we can go through this whole thing of the vaccine because at the end of the day, everyone has a choice. And I can't really force you and say, Leroy, I'm going to bring a needle and stab you with the vaccine.
Yeah.
I can't.
And that's the problem that I have. They want to take that choice away and push it on you and basically force you to take it. That's another thing that I've on that thing.
But yeah, that's a really deep conversation, eh? Because you're always talking about how even our president, the president likes to say, no, we need to go into lockdown. But why are we going into lockdown? Because if you ask me, with the whole lockdown thing, it's always a thing of, yeah, it's not so much you, but protecting the next person. So when you look at things like as the vaccine, everyone says, no, they're forcing us to take it because they don't want us to do sit downs in restaurants. But we're always saying, okay, if you have got the vaccine, you're thinking, okay, you are less likely to get COVID. If you do get it, we're saying, okay, maybe mild symptoms. But the thing is that we're always saying, if you're going to be around other people, at least someone who's vaccinated, less likely to be having COVID. So those ones, it's safer for everyone else. Whereas now when we say, no, guys, let's just do everything as it is, we're putting everyone at risk. So it's not so much people trying to control the next person and say, no, we're controlling you because this and that. It's more of a safety issue. So I think it's something that everyone needs to be well educated on. Then they can actually make a decision from there. Because if you don't educate the people, though, it's going to be a fight to actually get it and give it to people.
Yeah, true. But so if you wait till most people are vaccinated, then we'll be fine. But I think tell us about property.
Yes, the reason why we're here, the one thing we all love. Yes,
Why property?
property is a means to an end, if I can put it that way. Property means that I can continue living the life that I want. Because when you look at most property investors, I think Robin Booth speaks on it quite a lot to say his life is because he has property. Every time you see Robin talking about it, he always starts with, "I'm in this place because I've got property. I'm in this place because property funds it." So with me, that was the one thing that I looked at. Say, you want an alternative source of income. When I was looking at it initially, it was the thought that okay, for the average student, university fees, depending on the degree program, especially the ones that are going to be in raise, you're looking at maybe between 50,000 going up maybe to even 100,000. I just haven't checked with the most recent numbers in terms of fees. But imagine if you have a single rental unit that you rent out 12,000 a month. And I'm talking about maybe, no, not 12,000, 6,000 a month. And yes, you're going to have your agency fees and all that. But let's put all those costs aside. Let's take, for example, a case where you've got 6,000 coming into your pocket at the end of the month. Then you run that for a year.
Yeah.
Will you not be able to pay for your child's school fees based on that property? So if you can have a property for every child that you're going to have, and it's still able to run the numbers to a point where you pay fees for that child, then it means you going to work is you going to work because you love your job. You going to work because you're not worried about school fees. You going to work because you guys want to do a trip for that month. So it's money that's coming into your pocket for other things, not for all your day-to-day expenses. So if we can pull aside our expenses and put them onto property, then we can actually live the lives that we want to. But like for me, I love traveling, and I'm not going to stop traveling because I have to pay school fees. I'm not going to stop traveling because I've got bills to pay.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to work and say, guys, I want to do shifts this month so that next week we can go to Peru. So why not?
So basically, you're saying it's for the cash flow. So you invested in, and the cash flow will pay for school fees, for travel, for whatever it is. And when you have enough properties giving you that cash flow, now you can choose how many hours you want to work and not have to work how many ever hours you do.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Give you the income and the freedom.
The income and the freedom. It's those two things that I'm looking for. Because when I look at it, I see people who are just doing one thing. Take, for example, if it's just medicine. We remember when we were talking earlier on about how things work when you then specialize and so forth.
Yeah.
I've sat down with people and they tell me, okay, I need to work so that the cash comes in. When I'm not working, I'm not making the money because it's just my practice. And I'm like, okay, I get you. You will take leave whenever you take leave, but there's no cash flow. But with this model, if we can have it this way, I'm not even in South Africa right now, but there's cash flow happening in South Africa.
Yeah.
But when you look at it that way, it makes more sense. Then I can actually say, guys, I'm not working this week. I will take shifts when I want them because yes, I want to be that 40-year-old who says, guys, I want to go buy a PlayStation. I'm going to do a shift.
Thanks, doctor. Now, some people might not understand. They say, listen, you're getting cash flow in South Africa, but you're in Ireland. How's the money coming in? Who's managing the tenants? Who's looking at the property? Because you're on the other side of the world. So how do you do that?
Okay, so the whole thing, I think one thing that all the members of SA Property Investors Network normally talk about is the whole concept of having a network. The network is essential. So you find that for me, I run my properties using agents. And the one thing you need to try and do when you're getting into property, find agents that you can work with, people that are reliable, people that you don't need to stress about things. They're in control. So when you have that network, it all works out. So you find that I've got estate agents running my properties. So whenever there's something that happens, some will even call me and say, okay, this is what happened. It was in the middle of the night. I was not going to call you in the middle of the night to say there's a problem. I did 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it fine with you? I give them a thumbs up and say, okay, that is brilliant. Send me the quotation, the invoices, payments are made. Sometimes it might be even a case where I say, you deducted from my portion of the rental income. So instead of paying me the full amount, because 200 Rand was used, 200 Rand is deducted from that amount that comes into my pocket. Then it all works out. You've got your network, take for example, if you need a plumber, because one thing that I made sure I did before I left South Africa, wherever there was a problem, I also tried to make sure that I knew people. Well, I've got one property where I've got a maintenance guy. So I even asked the agent to say, if anything happens, this is the guy you call. Only if he says he's out of town, then do we need to look for someone else. So that way you can actually manage things remotely.
Because that's true. Because some of these agents, their maintenance guys charge huge fees. They call out fees and stuff. So you're saying, listen, I also do that. So I've got to listen. You use this guy. He's cheaper than your guy. If he can't make it, then and it's very important. Then we can use your maintenance guy. Are all your properties in where are your properties in South Africa?
I've got properties all over the show, eh? So you've got Mpumalanga, you've got Joburg, you've got Pretoria. So I think it's more of a case of everywhere I've lived, there's a property. I think the one place where I thought about getting a property but didn't end up getting down around to it was East London. Because during the time that I was there, I was in East London. I went there because I wanted to learn how to surf.
Mpumalanga, East London, and now Boksburg. Eh? So now he's investing with me in Boksburg.
Yeah. So
it's all over the show, eh? So your properties are like your life, it's like you. They just move and why Mpumalanga? Why East London?
Okay, so I think this is the part where it gets interesting because I'm hoping to inspire the other guys watching. Because you always hear the whole concept of you find your area, you learn that area, then you invest in the area. But you have people like me who move around a lot. So you find that I went to Mpumalanga. Yes, by then I was a doctor working. And I've always wanted to live in Mpumalanga because if you ask me, it's the most beautiful province in South Africa.
Yeah.
I wanted to go hiking every weekend. That was my plan. I wanted to go hiking every weekend. If I'm not working, I'm hiking. That was my plan. So when I got there, then I realized, okay, let's look for property because we're here. I'm not going to be able to drive to Joburg to go do viewings, but I'm in Mpumalanga. I can do viewings in Mpumalanga. I know I've learned how to run the numbers. So let's view properties in Mpumalanga. Let's run the numbers. So because I'm there, I then bought in Mpumalanga. When I went to East London, same story. You get there, you sit down, you say, I'm in East London. Let me drive around. Let me do viewings. Let me run the numbers. But now when I was in East London, one thing I noticed, I know there's some other guys because I know some guys investing in PE in East London. For me, when I was in East London, because the same story, you run the numbers, you do the viewings. I realized that I would be having better opportunities for the same price in areas around Joburg than I would be having in East London. So when I was looking at the cost to benefits, for me, it made more sense to actually buy in Joburg. So that brings me to the next part about how the whole investing strategy, then back to the whole network. So you'll find that people talk about your sourcing agents. I normally work with the brokerage. So that's by virtue, you know that, okay, you've got a team that you trust to say, guys, I'm looking for property for this price. They're going to bring you a property for that price and say, okay, you want it for this price. These are the numbers. This is the cash flow. You understand the numbers. You end up saying, okay, rather let me actually invest in someone like
breaking up about it.
Joburg. Same thing. I'm going to. Sorry about that.
So
now that I'm in East London, sorry, now that. Oh, sorry. What was the last thing you heard?
I look at the numbers with the brokerage. They give you a vetted deal. You look at it, you make your decision, you look at the numbers, and then you decide whether you take the deal or not.
Yeah, so that's how I work. Then now when it comes to looking at a place like um here in Ireland, same thing that I'm going to do: view properties, run the numbers, then make a decision based on that. So for me it helps to not look elsewhere, because if I look elsewhere and I don't have a team that's there, one, I'll make a bad decision and a bad call. So if I'm wherever I am, I look at properties there and I start from there. Then we try and build going onwards.
But how's the market looking in Ireland compared to what you've seen so far? Obviously, you're still doing your research, but what you've seen in Ireland and what you've seen here, where would you put your money?
I think both. Both. It's now a question of investment strategies that you can apply. What would be nice about getting a property this side is the fact that your property earns in euros. So when you compare the cash flow euros versus rands in South Africa, it'll be better to actually have something in here that's generating euros for you. But at the same time, you know that with South Africa, South Africa, you've been there, you've seen more, you know how the market runs, you've got structures. So you can also invest in South Africa. So for me, that's not a simple question of Ireland or South Africa. It's the realization that you can actually do both and keeping all options open.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think you got a more stable economy that's coming in euros. So wherever you go you can use that euros to pay for wherever. If you want to go to America, go to Australia, wherever it is, that can cover that.
Like I said, I want to travel. So if we're generating euros this side, let's use the euros to travel.
Yeah, sure, man. No, well done, Dr. Ashley. I think you're an encouragement to us all here. Give us some advice on, because it seems like you like adventure, you like seeing things, you like new things. Give us some. Let's say, we're very safe. It's difficult for us to get out of our comfort zone to say, listen, I'm just going to go to Ireland, I'm going to go to Australia, I'm going to go there and live there for a couple of months, see what it is like, experience the culture, and then move to another. Because we normally want to be close to our family, we want to be close to our friends, we want to be close to what we know, we want to be close to our investments as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's most people.
So true. That is so true.
And that's most people, and you're doing it differently.
Mm-hmm. For me, I think when you look at, I don't know if you've read what's that book by Robert Kiyosaki? I think it's Rich Dad Poor Dad. There's a part in the book that talks about, one says this is what I want to achieve, one says I cannot afford it. I think the first thing that I look at in life is, what do I want out of life? Let's forget all the responsibilities. Let's forget everything. The first question is, what do you want in life? When you've put it out there, you then ask yourself, how do I get there to that goal? So when you look at it that way, it's a matter of, okay, what do I want? Maybe I want to stay somewhere where there's snow and I can go skiing. But at the same time, then you stop and you say, I've got a family, which is like a stumbling block. But the main thing is, you identified where you want to be. And now the question is, how do you get there? Don't let everything else stop you. Answer that question. Make a plan, make a road to get there. And that way you'll find that you open up more doors. People will say, where there's a will, there's a way. We can talk about pray and the Lord will provide. Whichever way you want to look at it, it always starts with, you have a goal, have an ambition, have a dream, look for something out there that you really want. Then after that, push for it. The main thing is to have a goal. So so don't let things limit you, because when you look at it, people will say, oh no, I come from this background, I come from that background, and it's understandable. I remember when I did my trip to Bali, it was a thing of, it's going to sound silly and childish, because what was going on in my head was very silly and childish. I told myself, I always hear people on TV talking about layovers, I was changing flights, jet lag, and I was like, you know what? I want to know what that is like. I want to understand this thing of international flights. But I'd
Yeah.
never done these long trips where people talk about, oh, I flew to this international airport. I was sitting there, then I had to switch out flights. For me, it was a foreign concept. I'm just like, okay, at most I had flown maybe from Zimbabwe coming into South Africa, but it was something that I really wanted to see. So I told myself, you know what, let's do it. If it means that next month we work harder,
Yeah.
let's do it. So it's that whole thing. If it means you work harder the next month, do it. If it means you find an investment strategy, do it. But always ask yourself, what's my goal and what can I do to get to that goal?
Great advice there, doctor. So it's what do you want out of life? Have a goal, have a dream, and then you said, then you find out how you can make that happen, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Put a plan together, and then you start pushing. Then you start working towards it, and perseverance. And I think the last thing you said was never limit yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Don't say, listen, I'm from Boksburg, South Africa. Island is too far. Excuses. Someone said before, they said you can make money or you can make excuses, but you can't make both.
That's
I think for you it will say you can make your dreams happen or you can make excuses, but you can't make both.
Definitely.
No, that's good advice. So Brandon has a question. He says, what finance strategies does the doctor use, and does he make use of investors or funding deals himself?
Oh,
so
yes.
You get that? How do you source your finances? Use your own money, or which finance strategies do you use?
Okay, so I think the question would be, what finance strategies does Brendan know? Okay.
Brandon, which ones do you know? Bank. I think, let's say bank. Let's say, which are the other ones? JVs. I'm just saying JVs, angel investors, bridging finance. What else is there? There's a lot. There's about 20, 30 we can go through now.
Yeah. Okay, I thought Brendan was going to reply.
Those are the most simple ones. Brandon, which finance strategies do you know? Brandon is a friend of mine. He's done a few flips as well.
Oh, nice. Okay, we're waiting for a reply from Brent. Okay, so for me, while waiting, let me answer that. I use all the above. All the above. The thing is that when you limit yourself, you limit your growth. So you'll find that when I look at it, if you think, for example, if you look at calculations of return on investment, if you're putting your own money in, you don't have that much of an returns. But take, for example, when you go to the bank and it's the bank's money that you're putting into your deal, I feel like it works better for me. So it's the thing that I've learned to say, okay, having access to funds is one thing, having funds is another. So if I can use access to funds, I will use access to funds. If I have to use my own money, then I will use my own money. But first thing that I try and do is use my access to funds. Then at some point, you get a point where your access to funds might be limited. And you see this with some of the bigger guys, the guys like Leroy, because I look at Leroy and I'm like, that's my life goal. I want to be like Leroy one day. Because if you look at his portfolio, it's amazing.
And I want to be like you. So yeah, it's weird.
So you look at that whole thing and you realize, okay, at some point, maybe you've got access to funds, but there's some limitations. In that case, that's when it helps to say, okay, let's do a joint venture. Let's partner up with other people. Let's bring in other investors on board who've got the funds, because there'll be a time maybe you are working on 2 deals at the same time. Maybe you're doing renovations on your property. So your funds are locked into something else, but someone else has got funds that are sitting there and saying, I've got funds, I don't want to use them. So then it works to have an angel investor. So I also use angel investors. When you need to have a joint venture, there'll be deals that work with that. There'll be sometimes when you've got access to funds and the bank says, we'll give you everything 100%, jump onto it. So I wouldn't say there's one option. Use whatever means you have necessary. If it's family willing to finance, if it's the bank, use them all.
So I think the answer there, Brandon, is make the deal work. However you can make that deal work, you make it work. Whether it be you can get the finance. If you can't get the finance, then you bring in an investor that does have the finance, and obviously they want a return on that money. Then you run bridging finance, right? Some people you find lending where the interest rates are high, but if the deal works at that interest rate, then and someone's willing to give you the money, then go for it. So I think so I think the doctor says he makes the deal work. If he can leverage, he first tries to leverage if he can. If he can't, then he's got the funds. If he doesn't have the funds, he'll bring in a partner that does have the funds, whether they come in as a JV partner or as an angel investor. If you source the property, you source it. If you flip it, you flip whatever it is. But so you use whatever it is to make the deal work. I was actually with guys yesterday, a good friend of mine. Now they do everything cash, doctor. So they got businesses that are doing well, and they buy all of their properties cash. And they've done that. They've been doing that, and they've got quite a few. They've got businesses that are doing well, and they're not used to the leverage part. Now, obviously, we leverage quite a bit on that, and they're very uncomfortable with leveraging finance because they're used to doing everything cash.
No, it also goes back down to preference, because for some people it's just that whole thing of I don't want to owe someone anything. They don't want to be in debt to anyone. But even if for some people they might say I buy it cash, because with South Africa's interest rates, where we're looking at least right now we're sitting close to about around 7%. So prime rate is down, but for some people they say, okay, if you're gonna buy that house over 20 years, you end up paying back the bank a higher interest when they calculate their interest. Say you pay the bank more money. So for them, if they have the cash available, they'll say, nope, let me keep my cash. Let me put in the cash, that extra 50 or 100K that I was going to pay back as interest. I don't want to have to pay that. So let me do the deal cash and have cash flow. So if you do have the access to funds, why not?
Yeah, look at that, and there's no right or wrong. If you've got the funds and you leave it in the deal for long, and you can afford to leave it in there for a while, and you've got other money coming in, other people will say, listen, I'll rather, let's say, I'll buy a 10 million property and leverage 9 and only put 1 million cash in and keep the rest, and now I've got an asset for which I've only basically put R1 million in, but I've got a 10 million asset in there. So yeah, there's not one size fits all, I think as long as the numbers make sense, your ROIs are good, then yeah, Brandon, I think that answers your question. Any other questions, guys, before we log off? We've come to almost an hour, Doctor. Time flies. Last words of advice or encouragement words of advice on what have we covered? We've covered medical, traveling, property now. Maybe leave us with a last statement there that Dr. Ashley Mawere believes, something that encourages you, something that you can leave the listeners with.
Sure. Why are you making it so deep?
Let's make it simpler. How can we make it simpler?
I'll give it a try. Let's go through it. So I always say, in life, have your goals and write them down, because the main thing is, once you know your goals, once you know who you are, everything ties up. Because if you don't know who you are and you don't know your goals, you're going to be like a boat out in the ocean. If you cannot steer that boat, it's going to go wherever the waves toss it. But when you know who you are, you're grounded. You know where you're going. But I always say, for me, it's 5 things. You talk about truth. But for me, I'm Christian, and I look at, say, that's my fundamental. There's truth. And what is my truth that I believe in? Have something that you're believing in. And that applies to everything. Have an ambition. What are you chasing after in the long run? Understand who you are, your identity. And that's you as an entity, to say, this is who I am. Having a purpose, to say, okay, you're not just living for the sake of living. There is a purpose. And sometimes people say purpose, people talk about destiny. But sometimes it's not so much of, Oh, in the greater scheme of things, in that moment where you are in today, what's your purpose? What are you going to be useful in achieving today? Starts there,
Mm.
and having a standard. Say, this is who I am. I'm not going to bring down my
Okay.
standards. I'm going to keep it here. So it go,
Yeah.
like I said, the goals and identity. And once you have those things, it drives you and it will take you far.
Awesome stuff. Guys, truth, believe in something. All right? Dr. Ashley is a Christian. He believes in Jesus. Then have ambition. You want more. Ambition is how's a good way to explain ambition, hey? Wanting more, wanting to be more.
Definitely, definitely.
Then know who you are, have a purpose for why you're living.
Hmm.
Otherwise, right? And then the last one was do not compromise on your standards.
Yeah. So I think
So
it was
good stuff.
truth, ambition, entity in terms of self-identity, the purpose, and having the standards.
Awesome stuff. Dr. Ashley, thank you so much.
No, thank you,
Appreciate
Leroy, for having me.
you
Much
encouraging
appreciated.
us. Good information, man. I think you're encouraging us to get out of our comfort zones, eh? I think some of us are too comfortable where we are.
When I go to Peru,
And
I'm gonna say on a call and say, Leroy, let's go to Peru, and Leroy should be saying, yes, I'm booking the tickets.
talk about comfort zones. We're talking about now where we're living. So we're talking about okay, we need to move sometime in the future to a bigger house, all right? And my wife is very adventurous. She says we can move anywhere. We can let's go to wherever. Cape Town or Mauritius, and that's even South Africa. That's not even out of South Africa. Mauritius is or Durban, and I'm thinking just the other side of Boksburg. Eh? I'm I'm thinking I'm staying on this side of Boksburg. If I move to that side, I'll be closer to the airport, closer to the church, um, and that's me now getting out of my comfort zone. So I think this is there. That there's a big world out there that we have to see, and it's bigger than where you are now.
Definitely, definitely.
And our thinking was that imagine my thinking was also because I'm starting to open up now is to imagine you're born in Boksburg and you die in Boksburg.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a scary thought, eh?
Yep.
That you born okay, obviously God's will, right? You don't want to move to India if it's not part of your purpose, right? As you said, purpose was in there. But I think all of us need to at least experience something else, eh? And I think that's what scared me. I thought, what? I'm born in Boksburg. I don't want to die in Boksburg,
Yep.
eh?
You need to get
So
out of Boxburg.
those scary thoughts, eh? And it's not an easy thing because everything is here, family, investments. But yeah, but thanks. My mother says you're thinking back up, kids. Oh, my mother, you see, she doesn't want me to move. That's another challenge. Can you see that, Ashley?
No, I see it. I see it.
You should be saying, Leroy, go for it. But Ashley, thanks so much, man. We're gonna share this to a lot of groups. I think it's gonna encourage a lot of people. And yeah, man, if people want to follow you, or I don't know, are you on Instagram? Are you on Facebook? Are you on? Do you have a YouTube channel? What do you? Where are you? Where can we find you if people want to
Sure.
follow
That's the
you?
thing. None of my platform, all my other social media is not professional. I'll make one that people can follow for all the inspiration. Because if you look at it, Instagram, everyone's just gonna be like, yeah, he's always traveling. He never works. I want them to realize that I do work, not so much traveling. So I'll make a professional account and I'll give it to you for people to follow.
I think do that, man. So yeah, take off your travels. How many countries have you been to?
That's interesting. It's not that much. It's not that much. Because I think I've been to all the SADC countries. I think the only one that I haven't been to was Swaziland because I was scheduled to go around about September, October. That's when I was supposed to go to Swaziland. But Lesotho, I've done it. South Africa, Botswana, Zambia, Namibia, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, then Tanzania, Egypt. Oh wow, Bali.
It's going with Bali.
Yeah, so I think the only thing that came in the way and stopped me from traveling more was COVID.
Yeah,
Was
I think
Peru was scheduled Then after that, we wanted to do, forgetting what else was there. There's something that I wanted to see somewhere. Then that was also on the list. So we didn't get to do all of that after COVID came along. But one day we'll do it and definitely add to the list.
Yeah, COVID was a bit of a hindrance. Quite a few countries. We booked a trip also to Bali, and then COVID hit, and then we paid it in full, and then the company went bankrupt. Gone with the company, dude. Gone off website. Gone. Nothing. No response. Just so yeah. But anyway, it is what it is, eh? Is what it is. So all the best, doctor. Thank you. We should get you on. We should do a live with us when you out there hiking or traveling and start your channel, man. Start your YouTube or your Facebook and start taking videos and photos of these things that you're doing.
No, definitely, I will do so.
All right. Okay. Thanks, eh? I think stay on. I'm just going to end the broadcast. Guys, thank you. Like, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And we are every Wednesday, 10 a.m. God bless you. See you next week.